Shalom, everyone. Shalom. 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 I have an interesting, not say interesting, but exciting broadcast. My Facebook been acting up on me, guys. I hope that we not interfered with tonight, and if so, then I may go to my brother page. But just let me invite a few people on. Invite a few people on. Okay, let me see. One more person here. All right. Shalom. Okay, I believe my brother's on, so I'm gonna invite him on. Give me a second. Let me wave everybody. Give me 1 second. Let me wave everybody. In fact, I just seen you. You came on, so if you can actually send a request. Let me see. Okay, now I'm gonna add you. I'm adding you now. I'm adding. So it should pop up. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
All right. I titled this, and you know what? Let me say this first. Can you say your name? Because I don't want to mess your name up.
I'm Qanath.
Qanath. All right. Because I'm not that very well diverse in the Hebrew. I have no shame in saying it. I have to brush up on it. So the brother and I believe that the Most High, in fact, we know the Most High brought us together. You understand? And I don't know how it happened, but we end up crossing paths in the same direction on what's being taught today. And we have to break down lies, come with truth. I just want to read one scripture, brother, before we start with the broadcast. I want to read 2 Chronicles, chapter 15, and we're going to start at verse 3. It says this. Can you turn this a little bit? It says this. Now for a long season, Yisrael has been without the truth of Yah, and without a teaching priest, and without law. Read that again. Now for a long season, Yisrael or Yasha have been without the truth of Yahweh or Yah, and without a teaching priest, and without law. Right? I think this is very important because the Most High reveals things in His time, not our time, His time. So this brother's a historian. He's traveled. So I'm sure he can't get all his knowledge in this one interview. You understand? In this one interview. So I would like for him to introduce yourself, how long you've been in knowledge, and let's get down to the topic we're going to talk about.
Kang. Well, Toda for having me on the interview, bro. I mean, you and F.O.P.E. for many years now. So it's always good to see the brothers, building. I don't care about what camp you come from. All Israelite elders have been ordained by the Most High, and we have to give them the respect that they're due. Because Yah put you in the power or in the position to do what you're doing. And so who am I to say, who am I to call unclean what Yah has called clean? So my name is Qanath. I hail from Houston, Texas. That's where I live. The captivity is Houston. I've been in this truth for 17 years now. I came into the truth in 2002, right my freshman year in college at Texas Southern University. From before then, I was strong Christian, you know, one of the best Christians you could be. And I found the truth. Never looked back, you know, never looked back from that point. And that was back in the gap when there was no YouTube and there was no Facebook and there was no internet proliferation of some of the foolishness that we see on the internet. I saw all of that coming to be, if you will, from like 2007 up until like 2013, 2014, 2015. So we the old heads, we've seen this grow, and we've seen many people come and go. You know, I've seen many camps come and go. I've seen Israelite heritage rise and fall. You know, I've seen all of these other camps that they just kind of shot up out of nowhere. You know, and some of these guys have some really good information. Some of these brothers have some really mediocre information. You know, some of these guys are parrots. And so my mission has been for the last, 7-8 years is we got to stop waiting on the kingdom and we have to be the kingdom, you know, because it's too many people say, well, when that gets back, we'll do this when this, at this time, at that time. And I'm like, so you mean to tell me that you're not going to try to be my brother until the Messiah comes back? That's crazy. You know, that is the mentality of somebody who is benefiting from the division amongst Israel. Somebody is benefiting from us being in confusion, from us being separate, from us being stagnant, and they have planted seeds among us that keep us divided and debating over things that really empirical research, and empirical just means observable research. Things you can observe can prove and disprove some of the things that we teach as Israelites. And we got to get to that point where we stop debating each other and we kind of come together and focus on who our true enemy is, you know? And so that's been my mission for the last, 6-7 years now is I recognize that we've created denominations in this truth. Just like the Christians created denominations in their truth. We've created denominations and we got the Baptist Hebrews, we got the Pentecostal Hebrews, we got all kind of proliferated foolishness that's going on, you know.
Right. Let me. It's another scripture that it just dawned on me, and I could not find the apocrypha how we don't supposed to give away our heritage. So let's deal with before we get down to the topic, and we'll try to lead up to it. Can you tell us your last place of travel, and why did you go there?
So I'm an educator by craft. You know, I went to school for education. Well, I went to school for professional writing, and you really couldn't do nothing with it but teach. So I started teaching. Now, among the Hebrews out here in Houston, we have about 30 people that I know of that are certified teachers. You know, that's certified in the state of Texas. We have the largest and the longest going Israelite charter school anywhere right here in Houston. The superintendent of the charter school is an Israelite, Atara Shemaiah. The owner is Israelite. I mean, the principal is an Israelite. Most of the teachers are Israelites. And although it's a public charter school, all of our Israelite children go to it. So it's for all intents and purposes, it's a Hebrew Israelite charter school.
All praises.
And so, absolutely, you know. And so I linked up with them, you know, and I'm a secondary English language arts teacher. We have a sister who is a secondary algebra teacher. You know, she's like seniors in algebra. You have, I mean, all kinds of people, bro. I mean, my sister is a primary education teacher. You know, so it's teachers all around. We have our own. We call it dedicators. We have our own dedicators meetings every like bi-monthly to just stay up on what the education arena is like, because the government of Liberia has given our organization some land to build a school in Liberia,
All praises.
and the government of Ghana wants us to do the same thing in Ghana. And this is not like future stuff. They have literally given us the land already. And so
All,
now we're trying to just organize and make sure that we have everything as it's supposed to be, because the next step over is going to be going into Liberia to start a school. So how that came about was we wanted to take the continent of Africa back over. You know, the people in Africa understand that what they have as far as education goes is colonialism. And it's the stuff called CCE, Catholic Christian Education. And that has, I mean, north, south, east, west, that has taken over Africa. And so a lot of these governments now, they want to rid themselves of Catholic colonial Christian education. And so they don't trust the Chinese. They don't trust the Europeans. They really don't trust other Africans, you know. And so they're like, well, who do we know that has degrees, that has all the expertise and innovation and the creativity of the Western world, but doesn't have the proclivity of the Euro Gentile? Remember, two manner of people. So we need the education and the experience, but we don't want that mindset. And so they were
right.
like, well, let's go with African Americans, because African American women are the most educated demographic of people on the planet.
Fact. That's a fact. It's a fact.
Yeah. What they asked us to do was they wanted us to send people onto the continent. And so somebody went to Liberia, somebody went to Ghana, somebody went to South Africa. I went to Kenya. And it was there in Kenya that I started to interact with the people that were living on that part of the continent.
Stop just for a second. Hold that thought. And I want to bring my audience and my brothers and sisters back to what I was talking about when people say, well, you're not doing anything. Well, I know people who are very well traveled, like the brother here. And what he's doing is actually setting up a government, per se, right, with us Israelites here to exit out, you understand, and
Right.
do things to be that leader or them leaders, right, like the Most High want us to be, right? And I want you to continue on, but I just want to say this too. It's very important that people say, well, it's easier said than done. Well, it's really easy, because once you go to Liberia, you're going to find out that one American dollar in Liberia is $16. One American dollar in Ghana is worth $5.50, right? I think one American dollar in South Africa may be $16, you know. So look at the currency also, right?
But you're absolutely right. If we took the amount of money that we generated in America and we were to take it to Africa, we would, without cliche, we would be living like kings and queens.
Millionaires.
Bro, I took $6,000 liquid to Kenya. I was able to start a business, buy a vehicle, buy an apartment, and take care of all of my living expenses for an entire year with $6,000.
I'm going to Ghana in February, most I will, and like a lot of times we rent, and I want to stay on the topic, but a lot of times we rent here, and you may be paying 1,800, 1,200, 900, 700. You can go in Ghana and get a 5-bedroom home. Listen to me, family. A 5-bedroom home with a worker there, right, to do the cooking and the cleaning and everything else, right, with security outside, okay? And you can rent a house out, 4 to 5 bedrooms, for $2,000 for the whole year. I know, bro. I have brothers over there right that's doing it. You know, don't go over there and think about it. You gotta have connections. Like I'm connected with this brother. He's gonna set me up with people I need to be set up with my team. You know, but that's part of it. You want to go into that before you go to the other part.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you, when you're going over there on the continent, you cannot just go over there and start waving dollar bills
Money.
around, because they'll hustle you out of that, you know. So when I went to Kenya, the leadership here in Houston contacted the leadership over there in Kenya and told them, look, my son is coming over there. I want you to pick him up from the airport. I want you to show him a good time. And I want my son back over here in one piece. And if anything happens that I don't like, then you're going to hear from me directly, you know? Right. And so when I got there, I don't know the tribes, I don't know the customs. You can't just go to Africa and just start waving money around, you know? So they hook us up with a native, somebody who speaks the language. They hook us up with somebody who knows, okay, you can deal with this tribe, but watch out for this tribe, because this tribe here is real stingy. These people here don't go down this way. You know, you got to be acquainted with the people, because they will get you. Yeah, they will get you, you know. Right. But it was among these people that I started to notice the curses. You know, and that's how you identify Israel.
Hold on. Before you go there, because before you go there, right? Because I want everybody share this, because we're about to go into something that's dealing in Isaiah 11 and so on and so forth, right? We're about to go into something real heavy, but let's go back to the schools, right?
Yeah.
On that level before we go into the people. Right. If you go into the schools and what you're doing in different countries, and what you actually been doing in Kenya, and what business you have going on, and so on and so forth.
Okay, so once I got there, for the first month, I'm just a tourist. You know, I'm just going around, going to eat places, going to all the tourist stuff, just really getting allocated with the whole country. You know, because I went from Houston. Female African American women are 3% of the population, to a place like Kenya where 50% of all the people there are women. So it's a culture shock, you know, for me. Right. I ain't from Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? So I don't see this many black people all the time, you know. I was, bro, you scratch your head sometimes, because it's just, man, what you see. But so I ended up opening up a juice bar. So if you could imagine an electric pencil sharpener, when you stick your pencil in there, the machine whittles the pencil down, makes it sharp. So imagine that, but it's a sugar cane machine, and you get the sugar cane, you feed it through this machine, it chews it up like a pencil sharpener, and it spits out the juice. And then you throw ginger and you throw some lime in there, and you sell the juice in little cups, you know, 500 milligram cups, whatever you call it, you know. I was selling those cups for $1 a cup, and I was selling like 75 to 100 cups of that a day. You know.
Right. Right.
Now, so that's $100 a day. But keep in mind that the average income in Kenya, the average person is making like $80 a month. So I'm making more in one day.
Let me say, you heard that, Israel. The average income is $80 a month. He's making $100 or close to $100 a day, right? With his own business that he started. Now, imagine, and I'm sure he's going to go into it, how much a mortgage may be. And I'm going to tell y'all something. The way they do things in certain parts of Africa, they like their money up front. All that 15-year mortgage, 30-year mortgage, they don't really do that over there in most countries. They don't really do that. You know,
no,
so imagine with the rent. You know, but go ahead, Kim. I'm sorry to keep interrupting because I'm excited.
No, you good. No, you're good. So I mean, but if you think about it, you make $80 a month. The machine that I bought cost $400. It's a little Indian made or Chinese made, Indian distributed sugarcane juicer. It costs $400. How long do you think it would take a Kenyan making $80 a month to save up enough money to get that machine? They'd be forever, you know.
Right.
So me, $400 on a teacher salary. I throw away $400 every time I get paid on stupid stuff. You know,
I send it over here. Send that $400.
You know, so I was able to go there and get right to business. You know, and so I also like.
Let me ask you this question.
Sure.
Talk about something. I want. You say get right into business. How is it? Because every country, just like here in America, every state, how is it as far as licensing in that area and doing business there?
I paid $65 a month for the storefront. I paid $35 a year for the business license and $75 a year for the food handler permit. So less than $200, and I had everything I needed in place.
Right.
And I didn't work it either. We had an employee working it. We had somebody working it. When I went up there, I was going up there to inspect it, making sure he didn't have my store looking all messy.
Right.
Now, the people there that are expats, I mean, you got people from Europe, from the islands, from all over the United States, and they don't want to put their kids in the Kenyan schools because they're really sorry. They're really poor schools as far as academics. And so they have these homeschool co-ops. And so I also started a homeschool co-op, which would be business number 2, right? And so because I was an English teacher, what I taught secondary writing, like expository essays, college readiness, just higher level critical writing, essays, creative stuff like that. And so I had a vehicle, and I would drive to this little area on Tuesday, and all the little expats would meet me at somebody's house, and I teach a lesson there. Then on Tuesdays, I go over here. Then on Wednesday, I go somewhere else. So I was driving around as a tutor with my own homeschool co-op, making money, teaching expository essays or teaching historical literature and things of that nature. You know, another business that just making money.
Right.
And I could bring home anywhere from $200 to $400 a week doing that. Right. You know,
how much is $1 in Kenya? $1 is in Kenya.
So the rule of thumb in Kenya is this: $1 is worth 100 shillings in Kenya. Now, to put that in perspective, $5, you could go to the store, you could buy 2 kilograms of rice, you could buy, 2 kilograms of, for instance, 2 kilograms of tomatoes cost 80 shillings or 80 cents. So for $500, you could really feed yourself and a small family for a week with $5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, gas, of course, costs the same. Machines like washing machines, automobiles, blenders, all of that, microwaves, all of that stuff is ridiculous, you know. But for the cost of all of that stuff, we had a house help, and we were paying her $60 a month, and she was cooking for us, she was cleaning the house, and she was washing all our clothes.
Right.
And that was just $60 a month. And I felt bad paying her $60 a month.
Right. And let me say this too, because I know brothers and sisters who have employees, right?
Yeah.
Because they like to say servants, I like to say employees, but read the scriptures. But anyway, this is not bad, because actually that's actually helping their economy, right, to grow when you come over there and help the economy grow, to help with their tax bracket, so on and so forth. And that $60 a month is really high compared to some of the money they be making over there. So
absolutely.
Look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, every once in a while, you know, like she would bring food. I mean, she would make food. I said, man, look, sit down and eat with us. You know, I'm not going to treat you like a servant, like you can't eat with us. You know, make you a plate, you know, do what you got to do, and then get back in there and do clean the kitchen, whatever you. But you know, but they're really happy for that money, because poverty has been weaponized in Africa, and they know if I don't do this and do a good job, then he's going to find somebody else, and I'm going to lose his income.
Right. And I would say the people I know, they actually want to work for you, talking about the so-called black man, right, than anybody else. They want to work for you more than anybody else. That's a fact.
Yeah, because see, we would give all our people, all our house helps, we would give them Hebrew names. Like this one girl, we called her Imuna, right? We called her Faith, Imuna, you know, a praise. And the Chinese that are there, they'll call them Mjinga, which means fool or dummy. And they say, come here, Jinga. And they know that they're being called a fool or idiot, but they also know that they can't say nothing to that Chinese lady, because if I jump on you for calling me a fool, you're going to fire me, and then you're going to go find somebody else to do the job. And this, you know, house helps come a dime a dozen.
Right. And this is why we got Israel. And I'm gonna now we're going to mention other things in other countries real quick. Well, not quick. Other things in other countries. Then we're going to get on the tribal aspect, because that's what everybody really tuned in for. But let me say this, Israel, that we the only nation inside a nation that's not prospering off what belongs to us, that's in so-called Africa. And other nations are prospering off of that, right? And using some of our blood brothers and sisters to really make them servants or slaves, right? And they actually looking for us to come back to rule. Remember the scripture say, when the righteous in rule, the world will rejoice, right? I done an interview last night, I don't know if you saw it, brother, with Edomite brother, or I say brother, or whatever, right? But he knows he's a servant, right? And he knows he has to pay homage. So we have to get in that mindset, and like you said earlier, with the conversation, stop fighting and biting amongst one another. Oh, you OT, you new T. Oh, this scripture don't mean that. That scripture don't mean this. If somebody can post it, it's in the Apocrypha, how we don't supposed to give away our heritage, right? Yeah. And that's what's going on right now. We're giving away our heritage over here to certain people, right? And I just say the H word, because if I say it, next thing I know, I'm blocked again, right? We're giving away our heritage, you know. So go into what you're doing in other countries, and then we can go into the tribal aspect of it.
Okay. So if you look at the whole continent of Africa, it is underdeveloped. It's not third world. That's the Euro-Gentile terminology. They call it third world, and they convince us that it's third world. But when you're going around Nairobi, you're going to see Lamborghinis, you're going to see Ferraris, you're going to see Maybachs, you're going to see Hummers, you're going to see they got everything over there that we got over here. So my question is always, how is this the third world if y'all got everything that we got? You know, it's third world in its mentality. You know, and so Africa is underdeveloped, but as we say in the kingdom, Yah has preserved Africa for us, and He's not going to let these Gentiles and these Chinese Mongoloids go into Africa and deplete it of its natural resources, because Yah has preserved Africa for us. You know, Kenya in Hebrew, Kenya even means the dwelling place, the habitation of Yah.
Wow.
You know, and so when you look at the tribal makeup in Kenya, there are 3 different ethnic groups that are living in Kenya, and this is something that they'll tell you themselves. You have the Bantu. The majority of the people there are Bantu, and then you have the Nilotes, and then you have a group called the Cushites. And I think it's real funny sometimes. I see some Hebrew brothers posting pictures of these women, and they have their head covered, and they got these little thing on their head, and they say, "Oh, this is a good sister," yada yada yada. But when you're in Kenya, you can't tell that these women are Hamites, because they look like Israelites. They look like sisters from America. That is right off the block. That is until they pull off that thing on their head, and you see they got long, straight, black, stringy hair like poodles. They got hair like those Mongoloids, and their hair go all the way down to the floor. And I don't see no Israelites with hair going all the way down to the floor, straight jet black hair. You know, our hair grows up like a tree. And so these women are Cushite women. And then these same brothers will post a picture of like a Samburu or a Maasai, and because they have all this Maasai jewelry on, or because they walking around with no shirt on, you want to call them a Hamite, you know? And it was very perplexing to me at first. I'm sitting there with the person they hooked me up with, right? Because I get there to Kenya, and they give me somebody that's going to drive me around and show me around so that I don't get in no trouble, you know? And so I'm asking her constantly, like, who is that? Or how do you know that he's this? Or how do you know that he's a Cushite? Or how do you know he's a Nilo? How can you tell who a Bantu is? And she can hear from their accents what tribe they come from, you know? And so these Hamites, they don't look like Somalis, you know, because we have it in our head what we think a Somali looks like. You got Ethiopians that don't look like Ethiopians. You got, you know, Bantus that look like Hamites. You really can't tell those people apart, especially if you only been there for a week, or if you're just Googling images of people from your home in Ohio. I mean, Google is lying to you. You know, Google is going to pull up some images and going to have you totally confused. And that's what the problem, that's what the bone I have. That's the problem, is these Hebrews are posting pictures of things from Google and from Yahoo, but they have never been on the continent among the people, you know? Right. And for me, because I've been to Kenya, not once, not twice, but 3 times, you know, I went in 2016, I went in 2017, and I moved there in 2018. And then to be from Houston, to be a teacher, and to be teaching Hondurans and El Salvadorans and Mexicans and all these people from Latin America, I'm scratching my head. How are these people Israelites and these other people not Israelites? And I've been to Costa Rica, and we got there, and they were like, "Do y'all want a tour guide?" And we was like, man, we don't need no tour guide. All these brothers and sisters walking around here. We'll just ask somebody.
Right.
And then we get out there, try to ask one of them black people, you know, for some directions, and they don't speak or no English. You know, these Hebrews, they don't really, because they have never been around the people, and they're using the internet to base their research. It's no wonder they're pumping false doctrines. They're totally confused. And you don't know how confused you are until you go out there and that's why I be invited, man, come out with me, man. Come to Israel with me. Come to Kenya with me. I'm going to Ghana. Come to Ghana with me. Let's go see these people and get some empirical, observable data from the people face to face so that we can build a real body of research, because what you're getting right now on YouTube and on Facebook with the Google images is really killing the movement.
Let me say something, get a chance to catch your breath. Also, I got the first part of what you sent me. I didn't get the my wife sent the email to you. You know, the information. You know, and you can do what you want to do information, but please don't send to a lot of people. It's you and break down what you've been doing as prophetic. You know, in your labor. So let's get back to, because we're gonna talk about Costa Rica too. I'm telling y'all, I told you that we were gonna bring that smoke. Right? We're going to bring that smoke to edify you, right? Not to beat nobody down, right? Or to make anybody look bad. It's all about education, educating you, edifying you, not only in the word, right? But by sight, right? And by ear, right? And by touch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this brother has been there and done that. So the scriptures tell you a man in travel is wise, right? But you can't just travel and just only go to the museum. This man's been in the bush, all right? So we're going to get into that. So before we go to Costa Rica, let's go back, because you mentioned 3 tribes that you met.
Yeah.
So I want you to identify the Hebrew Israelites. You just identified the ones that look Hebrew, right? Because he did say he was a difference between the Ethiopian and the Egyptian, and if not pinpoint, but get close to, and who are the Israelites there compared to other people there.
Okay. So Kenya, or I'm not even say Kenya, in East Africa, you have a converging of 3 different ethnic groups. You have Bantus, you have Cushites, and you have Nilotes. Now, just some etymology right quick, right? Just the history of the origin of words. Bantu is a Zulu word that was created by a German Jew in South Africa, the same German Jewish people who created the word nigger, just to give you some perspective as to what Bantu comes from.
I didn't know that. I had no clue.
His name is Wilhelm. What's his name? Wilhelm something. I'll have to shoot it to you later. But he's a German Jew, and he created this Bantu. Now, Bantu comes from a Zulu word. BA is a plural prefix. It affixes to the root word. NTU, or Natu, is the root word, and Ba is the prefix that makes it plural. So all Ba Natu means is many people. Okay? Many people is all it means.
Right.
So you're lumping in a whole bunch of different tribes into this many people. You understand? Nilote is another very ambiguous word, because it's from the root word Nile, like the Nile River. And all Nilote denotes is that these people followed the Nile River from Egypt as they migrated down into Central Africa.
Right.
That's all it means. The only word that stays true to form, really, is Cushite. And that's because you got to understand the Cushites have never lost their identity. Israel lost his identity. And that's why we call niggas on this continent, we're called Bantu and Nilo on that continent. Because whoever is in control, whoever you want to put in control, they have tried to make the name Israel no more in our remembrance.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And the same way we have accepted nigga as a term of endearment over here, now all of a sudden they've accepted the term Bantu and Nilo as terms of endearment over there. So these Bantu, we know these Bantu come from Israel. They follow the North African migration across to Morocco. From there, they come down into not Mauritania, but like the Ivory Coast, the Slave Coast. And why were they going across that way? They were fleeing from the spreading Mohammedan empire, because Muhammad said, "I'm going to convert you by the sword." And so, as our ancestors were running from the Muslims or the Ottomans and the Arabs, we went across northern Africa into Morocco. From Morocco, we went down into the Ivory Coast, was like Benin, Ghana, Sierra Leone, and then it wasn't until the 1850s that these people reached South Africa and got the term Bantu. It's generally a new term, because they weren't always called Bantu.
Right.
Now,
and I know I've seen some, and I know I think you were telling me earlier, they look just like us. A lot of them look just like us.
Oh man, they look just like us. Now you have those Cushites that are coming down from Pathros, which is the Sudan. You know, going back to what it says in Isaiah 11:11, from Pathros in Egypt, which is Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. That's like Sudan, and you can see that these guys are like Cushites. I mean, Ethiopians have a very definitive look. But as these Bantu and these Cushites started to mix in Kenya, in the region of Kenya, now you have this term that came out in like the 1930s, 1920s, called Nilote. It's a term that's even newer than Bantu. And I'm like, who called y'all Nilotes? And or what white man called y'all Nilotes? And when did y'all start accepting that term as who you are? You know?
Right.
And so there is a researcher, and I mentioned him in the article I sent you. I don't know his name off the top of my
the first article or the second article?
The one that says, the one that's entitled "A Message to Nilotes."
Okay, I had to look at it because I know I didn't get. I don't know. I just wait till I look at it again because I know you're supposed to send me through and they got. But go ahead, my bad.
Right. No, it's okay, because I think I sent it through Facebook. It might be more reliable than, because going from Google to YouTube, going from Google to Yahoo makes it a little troublesome. But anyway, his name was Seligman. Seligman, Seligman, and he says this in his research. Now, he's a German racist Jew, like everybody else is that does the research. From the analysis of the phenotypes, from the bone structures, and from the DNA research, he says what has emerged in Kenya or in East Africa is a third ethnic group, which is a mixture of the Negro, as he referred to the Bantu as Negro, and the Cushites, or like the Ethiopian, Egyptian, Sudanese, and they have formed a third ethnic group that we know now as Nilotes. And these Nilotes are like the Maasai, the Samburu, the Luo, the Kalenjin. And some of these Nilotes, he says in his research, some of them he gave like 50% Cushite to Negro, like the
Right.
Maasai and Samburu, they were half and half. And then from them, they were the progenitors of the other Nilo tribes, and these tribes got more and more Negro, which suggested that because these half and half couldn't marry into the mainstream Cushite, they had to go and marry and merge with the Bantu, and that's why these people started looking more and more like Negroes.
Right. So let me ask you.
So, sure.
No, wait, let's lock it. No, I don't want to stop you. Go ahead. I don't want to stop you. Go ahead. I thought you was finished. Go ahead. Keep going.
Well, all I was going to say was, so when you go there, you're going to see people that look real Cushite, like Somalian, from Somalia, and you're going to see people that look like Judah, and you wouldn't know that they weren't Judah. And then you're going to see every variant in between there. So there's really no who is who based off of just looking at them.
2 questions.
Sure.
So one is going to be sticky. Well, I know you straightforward. Have you seen anybody that may look like Oscar De La Hoya or Cesar Chavez amongst them Negroes over there?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay. Second question. Do you know, well, you kind of said they do, but some of the customs. Do you know, have you seen any of them that keep the customs over there?
Now, Christianity has proliferated. They don't do like Thanksgiving, they don't do Halloween, but they do Easter, Valentine's, and Christmas. That's just mainstream Christianity. Yeah, that's just mainstream Christianity. But among like the Maasai and the Samburu and other like the Kikuyu tribe, they have. I mean, we literally drove 800 miles into the bush to go talk to the Samburu elders, and he described to us in the proper season Yom Kippur, but they called it by a different name.
Can you hold on? I want you to say it again. You travel what to see who and describe what again?
So,
in what country?
Yeah. Okay. So we were in Kenya, in Nairobi. The brother who was working our shop was Samburu. Now we have a little Hebrew community in Nairobi. I'm from Houston. One brother was from Florida. One sister's from DC. One lady's from Jamaica. One brother's from Antigua. I mean, we got DC's in the house, New York. So we all met each other in Nairobi. We're all Hebrew Israelites. This brother found us in Nairobi. He's a Samburu. He found us. My sheep hear my voice. He found us, right? And so he was running our shop, and he was talking about how his people are Hebrews, and he's trying to, get his elders to come meet us. And look, bro, we'll go to your elders. Where are they at? So we load up on a bus. We drive 8 hours north into the wilderness, bro. I mean, so far into the wilderness that the paved road ends, and there's wild elephants and wild camel and wild giraffe and wild lions right there on the road, and you gotta wait for them to pass before you can cross the road. I mean, we in the bush, bro, in the bush. And he gets the elders, and we sit down and we interview the elders with the translator. And his brothers and him were translating for us, and they're describing how the Samburu people left from Assyria,
Left from where? Hold on, left from where?
He describes how the Samburu people left Assyria. Left from Assyria and followed the Nile River down into Kenya.
Go ahead.
from and from there, they are the Samburu are the tribe which gave birth to the Maasai and the Luo and the Kalenjin and the other Nilo tribes.
All praises. All praises.
And then,
so
on top of
go ahead.
that, he describes this festival they do in September for 3 weeks, and they go so far as to pray toward Sinai to Moshe, the God. I mean, the central figure of God who lives on Sinai, and they go so far as to release a scapegoat during this holiday.
Yeah, you've been blessed. That's all I can tell you. You've been blessed. And this is why I know the Most High sent you to me and me to you, because you've been there, and for whatever reason, both of us have a voice. And please, everyone, share this to all of your friends. Share this on your Twitter accounts. Share this on your YouTube. Share this to all the naysayers. Share this to all the Christians, all your Instagram. Share this information, because for whatever reason, things are moving up real fast. And every day is a different day in power and knowledge of the truth. We have just begun this interview, and we're not going to be able to talk about it all night, and we're not. We're going to do a part 2, okay, on it. We're going to do a part 2 on the things that we're going to do together also. But continue with that aspect, and then you can go to another aspect, and then we'll lead up to another interview, or you can go as long as you like.
Well, no, I just wanted to point out one more thing about this interview with the Samburu elders. On top of the fact that the central figure in their spirituality is a guy or a prophet named Musha or Moshe.
Mm-hmm.
On top of the fact that they pray or they acknowledge that Mount Sinai is the mountain from which they communicate with God. Okay. On top of the fact that they have this festival that looks like Yom Kippur, and they release the scapegoat to atone for sins and to forgive everybody for the sins. They also circumcise their males. They also
they do what to the males?
They circumcise their males. They circumcise their males. With no children, it is by law required that the other brother marry the wife to render children in his place. That's one of the Samburu laws. Give her children in the name of the brother that passed away. The last thing was, the last thing was, they are the Samburu elders. Now, and this is a part of the culture that was dying, or that is like it's kind of losing its appeal to the Samburu because of the whole Christian, Nairobi major city stuff going on. But the Samburu elders have this longing, hope, and desire, and anticipation that one day they are going to return to Sinai. So there's a story of exile and return that they have underlying their culture.
Wow. So let me ask you this. Like through reading and of course through videos, but you are one of my eyewitnesses. Is this a Bible-based or tradition? The things that they do, as far as something they've been keeping for a long time, passed down from generation to generation, or Bible-based.
This is something. This is something that has been passed down from generation to generation. When I was there with my sister, who is, of course, from America like me, And she's up there with us while we're interviewing, and we're thinking to ourselves, there is no way that these guys have ever seen, picked up, read, or heard anything read from the Apocrypha. So there's no way for them to know this stuff from reading it like a religion.
Right.
These guys have been passing down this for generation to generation, and it is the obligation of the elders of the Tamburu to keep those oral traditions and pass them down to every generation.
How do they look at you or perceive you when you through a translator and telling them who you are?
So they were actually taken aback by the fact that we had come out there to talk with them, because there were certain things, I guess, that they have been waiting for, because they're sitting in anticipation too. And for me and my sister to come way from America and then way from Kenya, way from Nairobi up there into the bush to talk with them, we really confirmed that everything that they had been believing for all these generations was true, just by seeing us there and us saying that. And of course, we were in culture. We were saying shalom and everything. We came with, like, as Hebrews, and they were like, hey, we've been telling people that we were the people of the book. And for y'all to come up here, it just confirms that everything we've been saying all these years is truth.
That's the Most High giving them a sign. That was the Most High
giving them a sign. Absolutely.
Yep. Wow.
Absolutely.
So it was supposed to go ahead.
So, like I say, because the brother Jacob, his name is Jacob, and his brother's name is Joseph, and his older brother's name is Jehoshaphat. They even have Hebrew names. And Jacob came to Nairobi looking for us. He found our community of Hebrews living in Nairobi, and he kept hanging around. And we were like, okay, this brother, he has a strong African face, He's done wrestled with lions. He got lion marks on his legs. He's done fought lions and everything. But guess what? Brother has been searching for the Hebrews. Something, he says, just didn't sit right with him up there in Samburu. He tried going to a church and asking a preacher about it, and the preacher was just giving him this Christian garb and everything else. So he said, I had to go out in search of something more. And I just happened to come across one of our elder brothers, Atur Yirmiyahu, and Atur Yirmiyahu broke him down, and Jacob started coming around, and guess what? To this day, that brother is still in the truth. And we actually, when we left Kenya, we left the business in his care.
Hallelujah. 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 That's how we're supposed to look out for our family. And this is why I tell Israel that it's very important, man, that we don't stay right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Revenue Old Testament, New Testament, Deuteronomy 32:26 say we're going to be scattered abroad. James 1:1 say we're scattered abroad. 12 tribes of Israel, right? And a lot of us are still there today. Still there today. And it's very important that we do make these travels. I'm making mine, most I will, in February, okay, with a group. So, and we're supposed to reach out to them, and we have been taught by Western society to hate all of Africa, and not knowing that some of our brothers are in Africa. And here's the part that gets me, brother. They will tell us we can't go by phenotype, right? But the scriptures say that the Ethiopian skin can't change, right? Because, they're going to look like us, a little bit of dark, a little bit of lighter, and look like us, like you said, to the Cushites take off that hat, that veil, you see that hair. They had that long, stringy hair. And then you meet the real ones who have hair like us, so that's very powerful. If you want to step into another tribe, you can, and then I'll let you close it out. Sure.
So you have the main tribe there, largest percentage is the Kikuyu tribe, and they're a Bantu tribe, and from them comes like the Kamba and the Meru, Imbu. And so it's like one main tribe, and they have different sub-tribes underneath that one tribe. And they make up about 53% of all the people in Kenya. And I mean, and you can find all kind of videos about the Kikuyu and how they relate to the curses and how they are Israelites. In fact, if you go into India, the country of India, there is a group of people, African Hebrew Israelites, in who speak Hebrew, and there was this Jewish guy who went out there to see him, and they sang the Shema for him in perfect Hebrew. And when he asked them, "How did you learn this song?" they said, "Well, we don't know how we learned it, but we've been singing this song like this for 800 years." And he was able to trace them back to the Kikuyu. And they were brought there into India on slave ships to be servants for the people in India.
Right.
And it's called the city people, Siddi, the city people in India, and they're black Hebrew Israelites, and they have names like Solomon and all kind of other biblical names.
All praises. I told you we come with that smoke. So let me ask you. You probably want to. Like I said, I'm a horrible reader, so yeah. I have 3 questions. And if you can't think of it right now, we could come back on another interview. But sure. I'm going to go with the first one. They asked me to ask you about these 3 names. The first one, if you want to write this down, is XHOSA. Okay? Mm-hmm. XHOSA. And the second one was...
the Hosa tribe, yeah.
And the second one was KIKUYU. And the last one was Fulanis. I think it's FULANIEES. Right?
Okay.
You can deal with any order you would like. It's up to you.
Sure. Okay, so the first one is the Hosa tribe, and they are the Zulu tribe from which we get the language Zulu and the word Bantu.
Okay. Have you came across any of the Zulu tribes there?
There are no Zulus in Kenya, but I am in communication with a few Zulu people in South Africa.
Me too. I actually interviewed a brother about a month ago. So and he has what they call a camp. I don't know if it's the same group or not. I forgot what part of South Africa they're in. And they practice the customs, the dress, and everything, the French, you name it, the whole 9. Yeah. So let's deal with the KIKUYU.
Okay, so this is the Kikuyu that I was telling you about. The Kikuyu are the main tribe in Kenya, and from them came the Embu, Meru, Kamba. Barack Obama's dad was also a Kikuyu, if you will. But the Kikuyu are a Bantu Israelite tribe.
Okay. All right. Now, go ahead, Slack, my bad.
No problem. The Fulanis are a West African Bantu tribe from Sierra Leone, I believe, and the Gambia. And one of my cousins is actually married to a Fulani girl. And she, of course, Christianity is proliferated everywhere, but we did not know she was African until she opened her mouth.
Right. You won't, and there's a lot of people like that. So let me, I'm gonna let you close out, but before you close out, let me give our brothers and sisters, if anybody have any questions, do it right now, because we're gonna probably go live next week, or sometimes we it's up to the brother, because we want to do things in a certain way. So if anybody have a question, real quick, you can put it up, and brother, you can close out, because I want to bring other brothers and sisters on. And there go the brother info that he put right there. So go ahead, King.
Okay, so my information is right there. You can call me if you like.
Right.
281-912-7480.
Right.
Or you can hit me on Facebook. I will send you the document that I wrote, and I'll send you all the research that I have if you want it. you know, so we can get the information
Right.
out there.
Right.
I also have some books here because, you know, research is nothing without evidence to back it up, you know.
Information is power. Information is power.
Yes.
That book, name of that book is what?
The name of the first book is called Kenya, Between Hope and Despair.
Done.
And then the second book that you should get is it's called The Scramble for Africa, Conquest of the Dark Continent between 1876 and 1912. Very good book. Where was I going? Where was I going? I was going somewhere. Well, I'll put some more of the books on the thing because I have plenty of books here that you could
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of books
you
there.
said you're a writer. Do you have any books that you published?
Yeah, I've published 5 books so far.
Let's hit them. Let's hear them.
The first book is called Portrait of a People. It's basically about, you know, getting the information out there. It's written more for African Americans. The second book is about marriage. It's called The Covenant Family. It tackles plural marriage, divine nature. The latest book that I'm working on is called The Salvation of the Hebrews and the Purpose of the Other Nations. And it talks about the Israelite-only doctrine and why we need to be more separatists than commingling with, I'm gonna say the H word, right? Hispanics and everything else. We gotta
you
separate.
Can say it, I can't. You can say
Yeah.
it. I can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have to separate because you cannot loop them into our salvation. You know.
Have they ever? One question, the brother said. Have they ever heard of a chart?
That chart is. I showed them the chart. You know, let them see it. And there's some other brothers that have made different charts that include the Fulani and the Kikuyu and other people. I don't think it's important that we have a chart. That chart just justifies our lust for Spanish women. We don't need a chart. You know, we have the spirit.
Let me say this real, I've got to cut you off because I'm going to use, and please don't give it to nobody else because you gave it to me. I want to use what you gave me and let everybody. This is a nation of Israel scattered all over the world, right?
Yes.
It's not a chart. We're a nation that's scattered all over the world. Not no 12 tribe chart. We everywhere. But go ahead. When you say you showed the people over there the chart. Go ahead. Huh?
Yeah. So we showed them the chart, and you gotta understand that they have never seen Spanish people before. They've never seen Hispanics. They only see them on TV. You know, so it goes beyond. I mean, when you break down like Hosea chapter 1 and chapter 2, where it says, I will have mercy on Israel in the future, you know, or those people who were not a people and now they are people, they had not obtained mercy, now have obtained mercy. That can be nobody. Let me put it like this. I had a brother who said, he said Judah and Ephraim will be oppressed. Judah and Israel will be oppressed together, right? He goes, and for this reason, Israel has to be Hispanics because we got to be oppressed together. So what I illustrated was this. If you look at what was going on in America in the 50s and 60s, right? Civil rights.
Right.
That was going on in America. What was going on in Africa in the 50s and 60s?
I can tell you because I've done my research. The same damn thing in South
The
Africa.
same thing.
Man, the dogs biting them on. I said, man, it's like the same civil rights movement in South Africa. Go Google it. You'll see the funerals. They was
The same
marching,
thing.
getting bit by
Yes.
dogs. They were hanging on trees. They were picking cotton. I was like, it's the same story in South Africa and many
Yes.
other countries.
Whatever happened on this side of the continent of the world, it was reverberating on that side of the world. We were fighting the same battle. You look at Africa, all 53 countries minus Ethiopia and Liberia and Zimbabwe, who got free in the 80s. Everybody else got their independence in the 50s and 60s, just like we got civil rights.
Uriah, you may have missed one of the best interviews that you're going to see in a long time. And we're going to do a part 2 and maybe a part 3. And hopefully most I will, the brother and I and his family, my family, and our team, we're already together because in fact, he's coming to New York with us.
I'm going with you, bro. I'm going with you.
Right. He's coming to New York with me. That's why I said people don't really want to. If we're going to dialogue, we're going to dialogue in meekness and being humble and bringing out information, consolidate and bring it together. You know, so Shashan said some northern kingdoms came over here as well. That's true. That's true. You know, but Uriah, you missed one of the best interviews. You have to watch this one again. You know, if you want to, we can stay along a little longer because I do want to bring other people if they want to speak, right? But if you want to give out some more knowledge, like I said, I know you cannot give out all the things that you learned in your time over there, you know. But if you want to drop a few more bombshells, you can. In fact, let's go back on what the H people never been there because they say that, well, because they mixed with certain tribes there, right? Mm-hmm. And that's how they changed. They should have been coming over here already looking like that. So I'm trying to figure out, did it happen in this part of the world or did it happen in that part of the world or did it ever happen to them?
Well, see, the problem is this. People that talk about Hispanics, they don't understand history and they don't have the observable facts to really make the conclusions that they've proposed. If you look at the slave trade, 20 or 30% of all of the slaves came to the northern hemisphere. The vast majority of all of the slaves from Africa went into Brazil and places like Guyana. I showed you the picture of the sister from Guyana. Right. Correct? Living in Israel. She lives in Israel, but she's from Guyana.
Right.
Only a small majority of the slave ships actually came into America because all we were growing here was tobacco and cotton. Sugar was way more important sugar was way more important. They said during the slave trade, the Queen of England, she ate so much sugar, her teeth were jet black.
Wow.
Because they loved sugar, you know? And so those Africans or those Israelites in South America who mixed with the Mongoloid, Mayan, Inca, Aztec, and the Spanish, they were given names. If you were mixed with black and European, you were called mulatto, which means mule in Portuguese, because a mule is a mixture of a horse and a donkey. If you were mixed with Spanish, Indian, you were called a mestizo. If you were mixed with Indian and black, you were called a Zambo. They have names.
Go ahead, keep talking for like 2 minutes, and I can hear you though. Keep talking. Go ahead.
Yeah, they have names for those people because they were giving them a social status based on their hereditary, how they were hereditary. And so you have Zambos, were Israelites, you have the African slaves, and then you have the mulattoes, was the mixture that you see now going on in Honduras, going on in Brazil. These people are mixed with African or Israelite and mixed with Spanish and mixed with Indian. That's why I'm going back into Central America. Because when we went to Costa Rica, we saw a lot of African people. We thought they were like us. We got to go into, we have to go into South America. That's why I'm going into South America. It doesn't do you any justice to sit there on Facebook or Google and Google all this information and then try to form opinions about it. You have to get your butt off the couch, buy you a plane ticket, go down into La Ceiba, Honduras.
About and I was telling people that my research that I've done in South America, because we have the brother Sam and I and a lot of brothers that's so-called F.O.P.E has hundreds of books. When I say hundreds of books, and it's many different tribes in South America, right? Many different tribes and many different languages, right? And you have it could be a Mongoloid tribe. I mean, it doesn't matter. Many different tribes. So, like we always say, oh, Native American Indians, and a lot of people don't even know what the word Indian means, and also don't know that it's many different so-called tribal Indians, not just in name, but just in blood.
In blood, absolutely.
You know, so how do you feel about when they just put a blanket face and say Indians in North and South America are Israelites?
Well, first of all, ain't no Indians in South America because they got that name because they thought they was in India.
Right.
That's where they got the name from. These people were their own nations. The Cherokee nation, you know, the Aztec nation, the Mayan nation. These were nations of people. They had been there for thousands and thousands of years. And the anthropological research shows how they crossed over into the Americas from Russia and from Europe through the ice land bridge from Alaska down into South America. And there were some that came later on when they, like seafarers, like the Olmec, that were African, and they were seafarers and they came across, you know. We also have evidence that King Solomon had a navy. I think the king Methuselah. What's his name? It was not Methuselah. It was king of Israel, king of Judah. I can't think of his name with an M. What was his name? And he had a navy that circumnavigated the earth 3 times a year, or every 3 years, something like that. And he would go and get monkeys and all kind of stuff, and was trading all over the world.
Right. So wasn't no Christopher Columbus. The Hebrews was already traveling to America. So that's where you get your Negroid from. And
And that's also where all those artifacts that these guys are claiming the Indians had, that's where they came from. Because we brought artifacts with us to trade with these Indians so that we could get, you know, food or get passage or
right, because they covered these artifacts in Puerto Rico, and some of the people there are claiming that this proves that they are Israelites because these artifacts are there. If you could touch on that for a little bit, and then I know everybody wants to stay on here all night. You know what I'm saying? I won't take all your time. But.
No, I mean, but like I say, these were items that were traded. We traded our culture with other people all the time. You know, that's why when the kingdom fell in 70 AD, that's why they looted the temple, and because they wanted all of those things that we had.
Right.
And if you know anything about ancient societies, they didn't have Google Translate. They didn't have dictionaries. They had to have stones, and they would have their language on the stone. They would have the same thing in a common language, and then they would put the other language on there, so that way you, as the person who doesn't speak Hebrew, now you can learn the Hebrew so that we can communicate. You know?
Right.
So they would have these Rosetta Stones with 3 different languages on there, so they could, because they were keeping a record of all the different languages they crossed, so that they would not forget how to communicate with the people and the different tribes they encountered. That's how things worked back in the ancient days. So it's no wonder you find stones like that all over the planet, being a Hebrew. You know, I mean, that's
common
how
sense. That don't make no sense, you know.
common
So I mean,
sense.
right? If I've been living in my apartment for 30 years, right, and I pull up the carpet, somebody come here after I leave, pull up the carpet, and they find something, and they say, "Oh, that must have belonged to Qanath." It don't have to belong to me, you know. Somebody else left it there, you know. Before, I mean, it just don't make sense, man. It really don't make sense.
What it really is confirmation bias. They are looking to satisfy their own minds, you know, their own understanding. That's what they're doing. They're leaning to their own understanding.
Right.
And it's called confirmation bias. They finding something and they're saying, "Oh, this must be what it is." And what was crazy,
you notice how I would bring out scriptures, Hosea and Jeremiah, and they all run from it.
Absolutely.
You know, I notice they all run from it, and I'm like, and then I'm telling people right now, without giving names, that elders in Israel agreed, and certain elders in Israel said that, you know what, they're not the people. You know, so I mean, it is what it is. We're not going to too much worry about that because we have a job to do, but we also, I just can't find that scripture, a job to do to wake our people up all over the world, and we cannot allow other people into our heritage. We must, like you said, brother, separate. You know, we must cut. We got to cut that, man, because there's nobody on the planet Earth. It's not a so-called Edomite saying that him and a Moabite are the same people.
No, it's not.
Right. We the only people on the planet that look like you and I is trying to say Oscar De La Hoya or Cesar Chavez. We from the same bloodline, and they will always say this. Well, you're looking at the white man's science with the DNA, and they don't realize it's not the white man's science. We created everything. It's our science.
It's our science. They just took credit for it, like they do.
Right. It's our science, but not only that though. Only time they accept DNA when it comes to a paternity test.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really asinine, obtuse, and everything that they do and the way they walk and the way they move. You know, but brother, you can say your name, got a closing word, and I'm gonna see can I bring somebody else on, and we'll chop it up another time because I know you got so much information, and I know you're a loser in thought. You know, for the things that you need to tell the people.
Okay, absolutely. Hey, my name is Yochanan. You can hit me up on Facebook. My name on Facebook is Edenic Son. We are taking over the Edenic continent. That's Africa. From the north to the south to the east to the west. Yah has preserved it for us. And one day you're gonna see us all back over there where we belong, in Israel, in other places in Africa, bringing the people out of the darkness, which is Christianity and the Euro-Gentile mentality. So we cannot turn our backs on our brothers for these vanilla people. But we love these vanilla people though. And that's what it is Stockholm. They want to hate the white man, but now they want to love the bastard child of the white man. Is what these Hispanics are. Because that's why they bubble white on their birth certificates. Because they know they're white.
There we go. There you go. So I mean, this brother's a historian. He's traveled. He's educated. He went to college. He's been in the knowledge for 17 years. You know, so he knows the Hebrew. What else do you want?
I teach Hebrew classes on Sundays. I do it for free. My good brother Shemaiah is on here. He could vouch for it. His children are learning Hebrew, actual Hebrew. Right. I'm going to Israel in May of 2020. Anybody wants to go to Israel with me in May of 2020? I'm headed that way. Get your passports.
and get your vacation, because me and the brother, we go to New York together, right? We got to break down some walls.
Here we going.
Right?
I'm bringing the sledgehammer.
All right, we got to break my bad, bitch. We got to break down the walls. So, all praise to the Most High, brother. It's good talking to you. Don't forget to send the information. And do me a favor. Text me your number again, because I don't know what happened, man. Is that the same number you put up here?
Okay.
Just text it to me again.
I'm gonna text it to you directly.
Okay, yeah, text me directly. And all praise to the Most High, man. And keep doing this work. You know, pray for you and your beloved family. And stay strong. And we'll talk about things we're going to do together.
Okay.
All right. Shalom.
Shalom.
All right. So I hope y'all enjoyed that interview, and there's more to come. I hope y'all enjoyed the last interview with my brother Shasham. I hope y'all enjoy the work of the Most High, what He's doing through all of us, right? Because we are living through a time that the Most High have taken the yoke out of our eyes, man. The moke out of our eyes. You understand? That we can see. And you're seeing prophecy just by us waking up knowing we Israel. And now we're starting to get into more than milk, and we just keep moving on and on and on. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Okay, I'll let him know. I'll definitely let him know. I'll definitely let him know. So, I'm going to see. Well, of course, I'm going to start with Shasham to bring on. Let me see. And I do have another brother I want to bring on.